Perceptor? What you doing? I'm analyzing this plate of, well, I don't really know what this pile of stuff is. This pile of stuff? Yes. These are toutons. What is a tauton? It's fried dough. Well, that doesn't sound very healthy. It's probably not healthy, but it tastes really good with some maple syrup or molasses. I don't think anyone should be eating this. I don't think it's right for human consumption. Why don't we just take these out of the way? What are you going to do with them? I'm going to eat them, and you know what? After I'm done eating them, why don't we get to a GotBot review of you? Yeah, you can be the star, Perceptor. After all, your deluxe class, reveal the shield, Transformers, Perceptor. Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. And what bot do I got? It's Perceptor. And yeah, you might be looking at him saying, wait, what is that? This is one of many fan modes to try and get the Reveal the Shield Deluxe Class Perceptor into some semblance of a microscope. I prefer this fan mode because A, it is super easy transformation. No, he does not peg together very well. But what I do like is, if you will remember from the G1 cartoon, he could actually roll when he was a microscope, which I found strange. But you can put out the treads here. You can flip them down if you'd like to have him lay flatter. But I mean, he stands just fine. You can flip out the treads, and he can still roll along well. And truth is, I like this microscope mode better than his official alt mode, because that thing is a beast to get into, at least for me. So as usual, we're going to talk about paint apps, we're going to talk about posability, playability, and we're going to talk about transformation. I should note that he doesn't, I don't think he really has his rub symbol anymore. And when I bought him, again, he was secondhand, and he came with what I can only conclude are a few repro labels, so he's a little bit amped up in a few places. I kept some of them, removed some of them, but in terms of this fan mode, I think it looks fantastic. I will show you how to put him back into robot from this, and then we will go into the official alt mode for this figure. But hey, the fan mode here, I think it looks great. All that was really done, these pieces were opened out from his legs and put out straight. He's kind of bent at the knees right here and collapsed a little bit. These are the sides of the vehicle mode, just brought up to fill in some space here. The arms are really just swiveled around with the hands coming down to meet the mirrors. You put out the windshield. This is the front of the vehicle piece. You put this piece over his head, which is inside right there, and you open up his chest. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that you need to do to put him in this mode. It's pretty easy, and I think overall it makes a fairly convincing microscope considering what it is we have to work with. Paint apps overall for this guy in all modes, they're 10. They're 10. I love the chrome. It gives him a little added detail. I love the shade of red that was used. I love the shade of teal that was used. Is it perfectly spot on, animation accurate to the hue of the colors? Probably not, but you know what? You are not going to mistake this Perceptor. No way are you going to mistake this Perceptor at all. So, posability, playability. He rolls okay. I wouldn't say like a champ, because he only has little plastic wheels, one on each side actually, little plastic wheels where these are treads. It would have been nice if they were actual treads. So in both this mode and the official alt mode, he rolls okay. posability. He has some shoulder issues. Outside of that, he's great. So overall, right now, I'm going to tell you his posability. It's about a 7.5. It's about a 7.5. Not because he doesn't have a lot of it, but you'll see why as we go through. Posability, playability, yeah, like I said, about 7.5. His transformation, I can tell you now, it's a beast to get in the official alt mode. A 3 or a 4 at best, because it is that difficult. And yeah, the paint apps, like I said, a 10. So right away, I can tell you now that the score for this guy is going to be a mixed bag. So let's get right into it. To put him back into robot mode from this fan mode, well, we stand him up. Right? He stood up straight now. We split the legs. And we can even move his arms down here out of it just to give us something to work with. You close up his chest. You turn that to the side. And you can leave all this kind of free flowing right now. You come to the leg. You bring this piece down. You come to the leg. You bring this piece down. Actually, before we bring those pieces down, I'm sorry. Let's alter this a little bit. Let's bring his feet out first, so we have room to work. So you split his legs and you bring his feet out. Then you want to deal with these treads that are out, not the way they should be. You basically close them back in on themselves until they snap. You take it, you flip it up, you close it in till it snaps, and you can turn his feet around, and you can turn his feet around. So all we've done so far is we brought these treads back up till they snap in where they should be, and you notice they're still hanging away now because we haven't got them positioned right. We split his legs and we brought his feet back down. No problem. No problem. Now, we can push these pieces down. You put this up, you push down, that'll become a nice little heel spur form. You take these pieces on the side that we brought down a minute ago, and now you bring them down. And when you bring them down, there's a little yellow tab right here on the door. It connects into a section here in the tread to secure all of this into place. Just like that, see? And on this side, same thing. We're going to bring this piece down, and we're going to, and I can find it. See, it's not the easiest thing to find, folks. You'll notice I'm not even doing it on camera there now. There we go. There we go. There's his legs done. So all we did was stand him up straight, flip out his feet, flip the treads back up, bring down this piece and peg it into the tread, push the tread down to make a heel spur on each side. His head pushes up. Now, here's where things get funky. You take the windshield and you flip it right down so that it's lying on the bonnet. And when you bring up the head, there's, how can I explain this? Okay, there's a little black notch right here, if you can see it. My finger's going across it right now, little tiny black notch. And there's a space in here in the gray where his head is. Ideally what should happen is you push that gray piece up and the black piece should notch into it, but having that happen can be challenging. There, I got it. But it's more a guide than a lock, I find. Flip up his backpack, which is the front of his vehicle mode, and now you got, you know, his shoulders kind of just wonky here. You circle up his shoulder like this, you circle up his shoulder like this, and there you go, you got his shoulders. Here's the problem. The backpack doesn't really lock in very well. I mean, it does. It's not coming apart there, but it's not really going to stay. It's more like it was lead in there. And the shoulders don't lock in anywhere. They just kind of go up and they're guided. You know, there you go. Look, I put his arm forward, and when I bring it down, you can see what happens to his shoulder. So you have to be very careful to move it on the ball joint when you're moving his arm down. He does have a bicep swivel, and the arms will go around 360, which is nice. He does have wrist swivel, which is beautiful. His head does go left and right a little bit. Doesn't really look up, doesn't really look down. No waist swivel. He does do the splits like a champion, which is nice. He bends at the knee about that far officially. If you want to dislodge some stuff, you might get farther. He does have a bicep swivel, feet around a ball joint, so you got some movement, a little bit of movement to the side, a lot forward and back. So you know that's nice. Again, you see the backpack has come undone. You know, he looks great standing on a shelf, but he's not the most fun to play with, to be honest with you. He really isn't. And the head sculpt, I don't know, does that look like Perceptor to you? You know, I appreciate that there was a Autobot symbol put inside here. You know, that's a nice Autobot symbol. I appreciate that there were stickers put down here on the thighs. I appreciate that all of this on the side was stickers, that this is a sticker. All of that was just left paint apps, really, that were lost opportunities. But you know, he looks great. He looks great. If you don't have a Perceptor, hey, you know what? You should probably get this guy. You know, as far as the deluxe goes, he looks good next to. Normally he stands pretty well too, actually. Even though that didn't prove it. You know, there he is next to Alpha Bravo, our go-to stand, and then you know, he looks good. I like it. He looks great, but it's like Perceptor's always. I don't know. He's a scientist. You're not going to want to fight with him because he's going to fall apart, basically, because he doesn't stay tabbed in great. And because of that shoulder issue, because of the backpack coming off, that's why he gets about a 7 at best on posability, playability. Poses so much, and you can get him in pretty much any pose you want. It's just he's not really stable for playing with. So that hinders him. Now we go into the transformation to his true alt mode, his official alt mode. And you saw how quickly we came back from the makeshift alt mode. That was pretty quick. He stood up. We done a little bit of fiddling around there with the treads. And we locked his head back in, basically. So it was nothing too bad. That was a pretty good transformation, even though nothing really kind of locks in. This is going to be not fun. I'm not even going to pretend that it is. It's a second, as far as I'm concerned, only to Universe Galvatron, and we all know how terrible that guy scored. So, let's get started with Perceptor. You can unpeg the door pieces and bring them up to the side and out. And you can tell already how this is going to go. These pieces here slide up, and then they flip out, and you have 2 pegs right here that's going to go into 2 slots along right here. They don't really stay, at least on mine. They don't really stay. Again, it's like a suggestion of where they should go, but that's about it. And sometimes some stuff pegs in and you feel like I'm gonna break this off. Like this whole armature here feels a bit shady to me. Again, we have 2 pegs on the wheel, 2 pegs or the tread, and 2 pegs or 2 holes up right here. So we, you know, let's do that, right? You know, that looks great, hey? The feet, you want to bring them down, and I find it's best to turn to the side and bring them in, turn to the side and bring them in, and then when you got them in, you want to turn them around so that the bottom of the foot is facing out and you bring it down flush. When you got it in, turn so the bottom of the foot is down and bring it in flush, and then you can peg the legs together. You can take these front pieces here on the shin and you unpeg them, and that can be a bit, there you go, and there you go. you straighten these pieces out and you bring them down and around, and they peg in behind. And there's a good section of the truck portion done, and that's the easy part. We have the easy part done, and that's nice. It's nice to have the easy part done. Hey, that's great. Now comes the challenging part. We can unpeg this and swing it out of the way and just bring it up around for now because, hey, whatever. We can even push his head down because that's going to have to go down, and you can even bring this piece over and flip down the little eye scope, and you can even flip out those and flip this back like this, and what you get are 3 lights, and they're going to be on the roof of the vehicle mode. The entire chest waist piece splits right here. It was pegged in right here. It splits like this, right, and comes up. You push the legs in all the way, and this is when we get into the challenging bit. This is when we get into the challenging bit, folks. Okay, see if I can explain to you exactly what it is we're looking to do here. I pushed those legs all the way in, but the problem is you really kind of got to bend the knees a bit. So you almost don't want to have them all the way in. You want to leave enough room for them to bend the knees a bit, and then you push it all the way in. It's really weird. You got to bend the knees and then push in, and I don't really like it, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan of how that was done. And now you see everything starting to come apart, and that's where this guy falls to pieces. And really all you can do is finagle it and push it until you get it looking like this. Just make sure that you know that the bottom needs to look like this. You need to bend the knees, and they're bent at, I would say, a bit over 90, maybe 95 or 100 degrees. And after you have them bent, push the whole thing in as tight as it will go. And the legs will still collapse. They'll only collapse to the right point because now you got all this bent up. And we come here and you can see how this is going to roughly peg in. How do you know if you got it done right? Trial and error, trial and error basically. But you should have an idea. You should be able to have an idea that you got this done right. Next we come down to the shoulder area, the arms section, and like so many others, we need to get these inside tires on the outside, and you flip it around and you basically bring up the shoulder like this. Okay, if you didn't see it, I'll try to show you again on this side, because honestly it takes a bit of guesswork, to be honest with you. You bring it so that the tire is part way out here, and really you need to start turning the shoulder piece up, and then you turn it the rest of the way, and you're going to notice right now like these two aren't quite fitting in here. Well, they're not quite fitting in there because here's why. Because you need to have, there's a hole and a peg here. There's a horizontal hole and a vertical peg here, and they're going to all lock together. You can turn these so that you're not getting extra pressure on the chrome bits, and you should be able to, if you have the shoulders both positioned up the same way, you should be able to push these and they should lock together just like this. Okay. Then you still need to deal with the chrome pieces and the wrists and the hands and all of that junk. I don't like this guy. I like him, but I don't like his transformation one bit. Not one little bit. It's nothing fun about it. This guy is just a pain to do. Okay, you're going to want to collapse this hinge to bring everything together is basically how it happens. And then there's a peg right here, right there you go. There's a peg right there, and it's going to go into a hole right here. I will tell you now, that hole right here on mine, it has stress marks. It has stress marks because it's almost like there's too much of this guy to go jam-packed together, and it makes it painful. I didn't find anything help with this guy. He's just not a fun transformer. Hold on. We have to get serious here for a minute with this guy. Yeah, you can see how this guy is going, right? Honestly, there's no strategy to it. I'm just pushing them together as best I can because that's all you can do. Honestly, like that's about as good as it's getting for this guy because it makes no sense. It's a terrible, horrible, terrible transformation. And that's it. I quit because it's terrible. You know what? Minus 72. Hey, so guess what I had to result in doing? I had to go off camera, and I got him in alt mode. You got to squeeze them together too much. Like I said, you know, his paint apps and whatnot, they're great. They're 10. His posability, playability, you know, it's 7 because of those terrible shoulders and the backpack. The alt mode transformation to the fan mode, hey, that's pretty easy. That's fun. This is brutal. This is second only to Universe Galvatron. The only reason that's second is because Universe Galvatron falls apart. This guy doesn't fall apart. It's just he doesn't really go together. So how did I get him into this? Because guaranteed if you got him, you are struggling to get him into this. Or if he was in this and you transformed him into a robot, you're struggling to get him back. The legs, you saw me do no problem. They're easy. Just make sure that you remember how they go bent up here. I'm going to show you the arms now. You need to know that you're going to end up pushing this guy together to try and get these doors and the front to actually line up here and over on this side as best as you can. Even now, mine I don't think is perfect, but it's as good as it's going to get. So what do you do underneath? You need to twist the shoulders such that these tires are going to end up on the outside, and they do peg together here. I already told you that. The forearms need to have the chrome bits on the outside. They need to come down, and the hands are kind of facing in this way as if they're kind of holding on underneath. Some people face them out to the side. Honestly, I wouldn't be concerned about the positioning of the hands as long as you can get them together so that he does this. He rolls okay, nothing to get excited and write home to mom about. You know, overall, this guy's not getting a great mark. I love Perceptor. I keep him in robot mode all the time. If I change him to alt mode, it is the fan mode. He never goes into this. It's done for this review. It'll never be done again. I can guarantee you because it's no fun. If you don't have a Chug Perceptor, hey, right now he is the only one that we got. Who knows when, if we're going to get another one, and what he will change into. But we can always hope. Anyway. Thanks for putting up with this painful review of Reveal the Shield Deluxe Class Perceptor. I hope it has helped you to understand this transformation for what the undercarriage of him should look like. If you are silly enough to want to put him in this mode, and I say silly enough because you'll discover just how painful it is and know that there is somebody out in the world who shares your pain. Anyway. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Check me out across social media. Check out the Everything Factor Machinery of Men, please. And I will speak to you folks next time. Take care.